Hello from Hamburg, Germany. Right now I'm enjoying the Hamburg winter, which is gray sky, cold winds and drizzle rain, which is quite similar to the Hamburg summer, which is gray sky, cold winds and drizzle rain. Today I'm talking about my experiences with the combinations of business intelligence and so-called artificial intelligence. I've been digging a bit deeper into this for about a year, and today I'll summarize my experiences that I've had so far. I use Microsoft Power BI a lot, and already the simpler functions sort of have an artificial intelligence. Power BI quickly detects relationships between tables. In many cases it detects them accurately and completely, so that already is an AI function. But I want to go more into the specific functions that are also named AI functions in Power BI. First of all, I would like to address the fact that artificial intelligence is a bit of a misnomer. Artificial intelligence is not intelligence. It is pattern recognition and pattern reproduction, and it is getting better and better at these things every day. And it still is not intelligence. Someone who has done an excellent presentation on this is Mr. Rob Ager, who is mostly a movie analyst. He rose to fame about like 10, 15 years ago with some brilliant analyses of Stanley Kubrick movies, then widened his spectrum a bit, and sometimes he does a take on a completely different subject. And you also did a very excellent presentation on artificial intelligence and why it is not intelligence. I think about a year ago he also had a conversation with one of the large language models about the Kubrick movie The Shining. And the language model kept leading him in circles, and that was very similar to issues that I ran into with large language models. Now a year later, not as much anymore, so that has been smoothed out from my experience quite a bit. Yeah, but still you could see there that, I mean, the thing just is not very intelligent. In my daily work, I use ChatGPT quite a lot, mostly for research and also for creating practice cases and case studies. Obviously, I'm not allowed to take real customer data and use them in videos. Also, it wouldn't be advisable to take data from them with me and just modifying it. So I have to create a complete new data set with various tables and fact tables and dimension tables, and combine them, and they have to fit and they have to be realistic. For a while I did this manually, and then I tried to do this with the help of ChatGPT. Last year there was a complete disaster. A complete disaster. The high point was when ChatGPT could not accurately multiply 2 times 1. I'm not great at math. I mean, I'm solid with the basic stuff, but I'm not great. But even I can do 2 times 1. ChatGPT got something like 2.919 something. So that wasn't so great. And the data never fit, and it couldn't follow the simplest instructions. Like, we have 1,000 sales here, and 80% of that is coffee beans, and 10% is tea, and 10% is cocoa, and it just ran amok and produced all sorts of numbers that had nothing to do with what I told it. And this has been a lot better this year. This month I worked on a new case study. I'm still working on it, about the British and then the Swedish construction industry, and it worked like a charm. It worked really great. For the research part, it had always been pretty good. So, finding out what's a realistic salary in Sweden, or what town should we be in, what Swedish town is big enough, because some Swedish towns are just some wooden huts and a few groundhogs. So yeah, it has to be in the right place, and they have to be properly connected. And when you have a sales ID or an invoice number, it needs to connect to a certain project, and it has to connect to it consistently. So this year, all that worked really great. First, the research part worked really very well. Occasionally AI will make stuff up. I found that mostly with Google Bard, like last year at some point, it invents stuff. But yeah, ChatGPT doesn't seem to do that too much. And if anything is critical, I ask for the source, of course. And then on occasion, it will be a little fishy about it. But in most cases, it will give me the source, and then I can check the data. ChatGPT understands humor and sarcasm. Sometimes when I get very frustrated, as it happens in any line of work when you're doing a bit more difficult tasks, you run into problems. And then when I had done 100 attempts to solve a DAX problem, I said, I feel like Thomas Edison trying to invent the light bulb because nothing worked. And ChatGPT understood the joke, and it also understood some other jokes. I said, yeah, you've given me more final solutions to this problem than the Rolling Stones have made final goodbye tours. And it understood that joke also. So ChatGPT can simulate solid quality conversations. For the most part. I asked it, for example, about the TV show Breaking Bad, specifically about the relationship between Walter White and Jesse Pinkman, and it gave me, we had a deep conversation and gave me some pretty deep, good answers. I was quite impressed with it. I also asked it about the character of Ethelstan and the show Vikings. And yeah, the results were pretty good. They're probably taken from somewhere else, but it sort of made it appear like its own. That was really quite good. So research and text, excellent. Not the same as a year and a half ago when I ran into all sorts of problems and we just kept going in circles about certain questions. That happens rarely, except with DAX questions. I've been trying to solve a medium complex problem lately, and ChatGPT just keeps giving me the solutions that didn't work and that it already acknowledged 15 minutes ago that they don't work, and then it gives me the same solution again. That's a bit weird. But other than that, it was quite good. Also, it's very good with text summaries. For example, you have a sales table and you don't want to read it into a Power BI, you just have a CSV and you throw it in there. It will count for you the number of coffee bags sold or whatever. So yeah. And also I had, I think, 18 pages of a trainer feedback, and I said, give me a summary of the most frequent issues that were commented on, and it gave me a really good summary. So yeah, working together, we're getting into the groove, and it's quite good now. When it comes to the actual AI features in Power BI that are named as such, I have not really seen many use cases for those. In different scenarios, in different companies, that might be different, but I just haven't run into many opportunities to use them. I have tried a few of them, but yeah, I don't really see too much of a use for them in the situations that I have been in. So let's go through the AI functions in Power BI. One thing that I use a lot and that you can sometimes watch me use in my case studies is columns from examples. That works extremely well and extremely quickly, and I'm surprised how well it works. So that's a great tool. Like when you need a complete project or product description that you have to put together from various columns, that works extremely well. Analyze distribution, I have not really found much use for yet. I see the distribution in other visuals anyway, and if I want to see more about a distribution, I'll just create another visual. The smart narratives have not turned out to be as smart as I had hoped for, so not really anything that the other visuals or common sense could tell me anyway. The Q&A, I haven't used much because the questions that I would ask would be pretty much the same that I would ask to the visuals, and I'll just make a visual that fits. So like what is the project with the highest revenue, with the highest margin? I'll just do a visual with the projects and the products, and I can find that out very quickly, and wouldn't think of any other questions to ask it. So maybe with much more complex data models, with a lot more data than I've been doing, it might help. The key influencers, it very often didn't make any sense to me what came out there, and I didn't gain any new insights. And if it made sense, well, if I have more projects of the same revenue each, of course I have more revenue. My personal intelligence is sort of enough to figure that out, just about. The decomposition tree also never so far told me anything new. You can, of course, you can explore data, and maybe, again, if it was much more complicated and much higher volume of data, it might be helpful. Anomalies I usually find in the process anyway, if there are values that don't fit. So far, I've never used it. Maybe there will be a time when I use it, but so far I haven't. Auto-clustering, I don't think I may have used it once, like maybe 2 years ago, but I don't know. Quick insights also didn't give me any new insights that the already available visuals hadn't told me, or that common sense would tell me. Same with Get Insights. With combining Power BI and ChatGPT, I found it extremely useful in some contexts and a total disaster in other contexts. Like when I asked ChatGPT questions about DAX, it just keeps going in circles and keeps reproducing the solutions that don't work. I just had a long discussion with it yesterday about a problem, and it just didn't produce anything useful. But when it comes to research and asking certain questions, why might this be related or why might that be, it's very, very good and very helpful and gives me a lot of support. And now this year it also has become a lot better at generating tables for my practice cases. So what is artificial intelligence good for in combination with business intelligence? Of course, the use cases will be very different when you get into very detailed and complex scenarios with billions of rows, where I haven't been. I have mostly been in the 2-digit million businesses and below, and there was not too much complexity. But if you have higher complexity, of course, you will have different use cases. So far, the basic thing is AI is good at recognizing patterns and reproducing patterns down to very detailed patterns of speech. So when I use ChatGPT to help me with song lyrics sometimes, and it can very well distinguish the speech patterns of Paul Stanley of Kiss to the lyric patterns of Brian May of Queen to Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen and to Jack Kerouac, the poet. So it is very, very good at deeply recognizing patterns and reproducing them, and is also very good at summarizing large amounts of data very quickly. But still, it is not intelligence. And at this time, as usual, have fun, Godspeed, and see you next time. Or, in the words of Mr. Miyagi, always remember, Daniel-san, best way no get hit, no be there.